It's a beautiful day in Wichita, Kansas, and I want to welcome all of you that are joining us on Facebook Live today. And for those of you that are watching this either in California or Kansas or wherever in the world you might be, we are a world communication, aren't we, these days? So it's very exciting to be here with our guest, Kelly Taylor, and I am going to be introducing him just a moment. Before I do that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, and my co-host Lisa is going to introduce herself. So you are watching. Yeah, well, sorry, I got ahead of myself. You are watching Leveraging and Learning with Action Coaches Lee and Lisa, where we have authentic conversations with business owners and influencers. And the beauty is you get to learn about what these business owners, they're going to share with you their biggest and best secrets in business, and also their #1 challenges. So it's very exciting. We do this every single week, 9 a.m. on Thursday Central Time and 9 a.m. Pacific Time and 11 a.m. Central Time. And we do it live with someone from the Kansas area and someone then from the California area. So I am Coach Lee with Action Coach Business Coaching, starting my 6th year as an Action Coach Business Coach. Am absolutely thrilled to be involved in this global community that touches so many people on a daily basis. And I'm just on fire right now because I had a group of my clients together, and we all established our goals and are working towards another 90 days. You know, life happens in 90-day increments. So I do welcome all of you today. And now I would like for my co-host, Lisa Raggio, to tell us a little bit about herself.
Thank you, Lee. As Lee said, I'm Lisa Raggio, and my brother and I are co-owners of One True North Leadership and Business Coaching Solutions in Valencia, California. And that's a hop, skip, and a jump from Magic Mountain and about 30 miles north of downtown Los Angeles. Very happy to be here and to learn from our Business Spotlight interviewee. And our passion is to help people find their one true north, business owners and organizational leaders, and what we can do to support them in their journey so that they have they maximize their potential. So that's a little bit about who we are, and we'll say a little bit more at the end.
Yeah, thank you. And I know that one of your passions is leadership. So I just want to recommend anyone that wants to have a deeper conversation about leadership in any fashion, please give Lisa at One True North Action Coach a call, because I think you really do a lot of great work with people in that area, and we need to make sure that the word gets out on that. So
thank you, Lee.
You're welcome. I want to let people know that we as business owners are very respectful of time, and we have to protect it. So we're going to start this thing on time and end it on time. So it ends at 9:30 Pacific, 11:30 Central Time. So I'm going to go ahead now and introduce our guest speaker and our guest today. And his name is Kelly Taylor. And Kelly is the founder of a company called IQ2Ditgital. And he's the owner and founder of Wichita Discount Cards. He's a former teacher and sports coach and has experience in a wide variety of, a lot of experience in sales and in sales management. Wichita Discount Cards is a mission-based business that provides discount card programs to help fundraising. Members buy the cards and they go to the website and they look at the participating sponsors and they use those services, and then the proceeds from that benefit the organizations. And what I think is really beautiful about this, Kelly, and I want to hear more about it, is that the organizations that sell the cards actually get to keep 80% of the proceeds, or whatever people spend. So I love that you get to keep 80%. That's cool. The website is wichitadiscountcard.com, and we will repeat that at the end. So Kelly Taylor, welcome to Leveraging and Learning with Action Coaches Lee and Lisa. We're glad you're here.
Thank you so much, Lee and Lisa. I appreciate the invitation.
Absolutely. So let's get right down to this. Tell us a little bit about these businesses. I think we want to talk mostly about discount cards today, but how long have you been in business, and where, when, and why did it all happen?
Great question. So I'll give you just a little recap of myself. So I'm a former teacher and coach. After I got out of teaching and coaching, I was in insurance sales for a while. I have been in retail management for a while. Have worked in the advertising and marketing sphere. And a couple of years ago, just, God took all the different pieces of the puzzle of my background and sort of helped me form a business idea called Wichita Discount Card. And the whole concept is to do two things as part of our mission, is to help organizations with their fundraising, and then also to help local businesses. I get so frustrated sometimes when you drive down the street and you see the big boxes thriving, but the mom and pop shops suffering. And so I came up with this idea, and I was visiting with my wife Tammy about it, and she sort of stopped me and as I was going through this, and she said, you know what? She said, God has put this on your heart for a reason. And so here's what I want you to do. I want you to quit your job, and we're going to take the leap of faith together. And we're just going to see where this journey takes us, because I know that if you just do this part-time or on the side, it'll never take off. So that's what we did. And over the last 2 years, we sort of formed this business. We've probably learned more on from our failures than we have from our successes, but we've slowly pieced it together, and now we have a business model that is proven, and we're actually hoping to expand it into regionally and hopefully at some point even nationally.
Did you say
hope? I know I'm not supposed to say hope.
Yeah.
Yes, and will be at some point nationally as well.
There you go. Thank you, Kelly. I couldn't resist. So I love that mission. I love that story. It's so powerful. It gave me goosebumps, even though I've heard it before. So I love that. So let us know what your ideal customer looks like. And so who's your target market for this product?
Perfect. So it's sort of twofold. First of all, we look for sponsors on our website. And the sponsors, obviously, naturally, restaurant owners, retail shops, more and more we're finding service companies that want to be a part of our mission. We entertainment venues. So obviously any business that's sort of reaching out, trying to find new customers, and that's primarily everybody in this day and age. However, the first thing I talk about to any new potential sponsor is the mission. And if they buy into the mission, then we're probably a good partnership and need to look for, ways that we can help one another and ultimately help the organizations. If they don't buy into the mission and helping out the organizations and the community, it's probably just not a good fit. And so we're somewhat selective in that nature.
I love that. Don't you, Lisa? I mean, too, it's that, all companies want it when they're clear on their mission, people will resonate with that mission and support you and walk alongside with you. So I think that's great. And you're so really clear on that. And even if it's a for-profit business, you really need to be clear on that mission, because profit is not, we can make so many things happen when we're profitable.
Right. Well, and there's an authentic approach that you have when you're talking about a right fit, and being transparent and authentic up front. What is your mission? So there's a lot of emphasis on that. I'd love to hear what your mission is.
Yeah, sort of our core value or our mission is really to, first of all, to help local organizations. That might be youth sports organizations, it might be church organizations, but we really never want a kid or somebody to be left out or left behind just because of finances. We'll find a way. And so that's sort of the emphasis of why we started this whole journey.
Right. Excellent.
I love that. You said earlier, you thought you'd probably learn more from your failures than you have from your wins. I think that is true in most cases. If you are successful in business, you learn. What the key thing is, you learn from your failures. What were some of the mistakes that you made and that you've learned from in your business?
First of all, and Lee knows this very well, I sort of have shiny object syndrome. So I'm easily distracted, and it's not only something that I can easily find a new project to work on, and part of it is I'm always looking for something new. But secondly, I've found that I sort of enjoy that creative element. So I've just learned that over a period of time, more and more here lately, especially coaching with Lee, that to maintain my focus and allow my focus time to be focused time, and then I can work on creative elements during my time.
Yeah, I love that. And you know what? We have to figure out what we like and what we don't like in business, and what's important for us to do and what's not. That's one of the things we've worked on, is to get him doing the things that he's going to get excited to do and not get stuck in that drudgery. Because if a business owner is doing the drudgery and not being strategic and excited about that mission, they won't do it.
Right.
I mean, we are human after all. Right.
Yes, well, and I heard, Kelly, that you say when I asked you about mission, you also said vision. And I think that's so important too. I know a part of the work that we do within Action Coach in regards to the alignment and in the work that One True North, what we do is we really emphasize at the beginning of business owners to get clear on their purpose and putting purpose first, and then their core values, which is their compass, and then their vision, where are you headed, and then the mission, the road upon you're traveling, how you're going to get there. And when you have that clarity, then it really actually forces you to focus, because when you're just concentrating on where you're going and then you've really been clear on how you're going to get there, it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you know, when you're telling someone your story, if it's wrapped around your vision and your mission and with your product, because if they still need to know what you do and how it's going to help them, but when it's wrapped around your vision and your mission, it makes it so much clearer. And remember too, I think that it's so important that when we're telling someone our story, they don't need to hear the beginning to the end. They just need to hear the piece that's going to impact them the most, right?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about how does discount cards work? I mean, if I decided I wanted, let's say, so my grandson plays football, and let's say they reached out to me because they know I know a lot of people, and they want to raise some money. What would they do, and how would they begin?
So first of all, what we do is we provide the cards to local organizations. They really don't, as a general rule, they don't pay any upfront costs. We just provide them the cards.
Okay. It's like a credit card.
It's like a little plastic card. It almost
Okay.
looks like a credit card.
Okay.
Everybody's somewhat familiar with it. All the football teams in this area sell something similar. However, ours is differentiated a little bit in the fact that instead of having 10 or 15 offers on the back of the card, ours really directs people to our website, which is wichitadiscountcard.com.
Okay.
And on our Wichita discount card, we have over 100 different sponsors. So it really adds a lot of value to the card. So it's easy for the kids to sell. The other cool element about it is because you have offers all over the Wichita area and suburbs. So right now, you know, on a traditional card, if I live in Valley Center, primarily I'm only going to be able to sell it to my family members or friends of the family that live in the Valley Center area. But with the Wichita discount card, it opens up a whole broad range of, you know, connections throughout the community. So I've got like a little small cheerleading squad right now that's selling the cards, and they're going to end up, it's probably 35, 40 kids. They're going to end up making about $5,000.
Wow.
And so that's really what makes me tick.
That's very exciting. Now, how many markets do you plan to be in with, because I know, because I'm your coach, a loaded question here, but how many markets do you plan to be in as you go along? Let's say in the next 5 years, how many markets will you be in?
In the next 5 years, we want to be in at least 50 markets.
Wow.
And what's really cool is we just now got done with our 1, 3, and 5 year plans. And as I got to the 5-year plan and was looking at all the projections, the one thing that got me the most excited, obviously we all have to make money in business, right? But the one number that got me the most excited is if we hit all our projections in 5 years, we will be helping groups raise over $4 million a year.
Wow.
And that was a number that just astounded me. I couldn't really believe it until I started checking my math and thinking, yeah, if I do this, that's what we're going to be doing.
Oh my God. That's
Talk
really
about impact.
right. That impact. Oh my God. I think the other thing, here's what resonates with me, Lisa, you chime in too here, but this guy is the numbers. Why do you need to know the numbers? Because the numbers will tell you the story. And if you don't know what they are, you can't get excited about them. And you've got $4 million of impact in 5 years. That's huge, but you cannot do that if you don't know what the numbers are when you project them out, right?
Right. And then when you look at the impact when it comes to the dollars, then you can start to look at the impact on lives, right? And for you, it sounds like, listening to you, that is what is the difference maker to you, is that you are positively impacting lives and thinking about the number of lives and how they've been impacted, and then getting the data. You know, that's another thing in which we're big proponents of, is making sure that you are gathering the data and that you're using the data in a way in which it inspires you, and you can also have it be a part of your messaging to inspire your audience. So
Right.
my background is in nonprofit executive management as well. And so I understand when you're speaking, I think that what I'm hearing is, you know, the people impact that you have in regards to your mission and helping and being a helper.
Absolutely. In fact, the second thing that most excited me is the fact that when we're in 50 markets beyond the fundraising that we're able to help, but I'm going to be able to help 50 business owners in 50 different markets provide for their families, because as we expand, we're not just throwing people, you know, against the wall and hoping some of them stick. We're gonna actually support them with processes and systems to help make sure that they're successful in their own individual markets.
That's
Wow.
life-changing.
It is. I like that everything is around the 50 number. So 50 markets, 50 business owners. And I'm thinking if we track those in increments of 50, that would be fun. And that would be a cool story. So I can't help. I get creative too, Kelly, and have shiny object syndrome. And that just happens. I love it. Well, that's so.
Have you had to pivot because of COVID? And if you have, how have you pivoted?
That is a great question. So in the long run, it's going to make my business stronger. Obviously, we wouldn't wish COVID on anybody, but what I found is during the COVID, fundraising just stopped. There's no schools going on, there's no sports teams going on, et cetera. But what I did realize I had was strong relationships with a lot of business owners. And so I really sort of refocused on other elements of the business. So I launched IQ2Ditgital, and we help businesses with text marketing and helping with their online reputation. And we all know that businesses quite often, especially the small mom and pop businesses that we're sort of targeting, have very limited budgets, but they need more online exposure. The other thing they have is very limited time, and so they need somebody to help them navigate those waters. And so that's just been a natural fit, and it's going to be both make our business stronger, and as well, we're going to be able to have a lot more positive impact on the bottom line of a lot more businesses.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's really nice. The IQ2Ditgital, the two companies marry well, don't they? Play together
Absolutely.
well, and that's nice. We wouldn't have time to talk about both, but if someone reaches out to you, you can go talk to them about both of the products. So that's
Absolutely.
cool. So here's a loaded question, which I think really my business has changed, and I know Lisa's has too because of COVID. We have all become busier as coaches, and we're finding that these businesses that are looking for us are wanting help because they know that they're really smart people, but they want to get there quicker, faster, better, and they know they can do that with help. So we found each other because you came to a workshop that I was doing virtually, which I would not have done virtually had it not been for COVID. And you said, hey, I want to work with you, Lee. What do we have to do? So how have you benefited from coaching, Kelly, in just the short amount of time we've been together, about 2 months?
First of all, just focusing a little bit more on the long-term plan. You know, I've always sort of had one-year goals, but sometimes when you project it out to 5 years, once again, the numbers become somewhat astounding and somewhat a little bit motivating. No, a lot motivating.
There you go.
And the other thing is that historically, I'm just one of those people that's not very organized. And I've always been able to track my projects in my mind. However, because I've got so many things going on and developing so many things, I really had to work on better organizational skills. So like in the background, if you see my office, it looks somewhat organized. In the past, you just see, if you would have just seen piles of papers back there on the shelf. But more importantly than that is the default calendar has been life-changing for me.
Wow.
Yeah. So we have actually a question or a comment that came up from someone watching live, Scott Pierce, who is a lovely human being. Actually know him well. He says, analysis paralysis is a thing. How do you create strategy with your metrics for expected actionable outcomes? And how often does it change as you execute? That's kind of a long question. Do you want to take that question or?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And here's how I can probably answer that is, it sort of relates back to the previous answer, is my default calendar. When I have I've really broken it down to not just when I'm going to do appointments and when I'm going to do office work, but try to break down all of the different tasks that need to be involved with my business and start plugging them into my calendar when they're available. And then when I'm looking have time for new projects to move in there, I know that I have time for it. There's a slotted time that I can do that. If I don't have the time, then something's probably just going to have to hold off.
Mhm.
Or I might have to reshuffle priorities. But I've really I've learned very recently that if I don't manage my time will manage me.
Right. Well, let me tell you, you've become a star coaching client with the default calendar, Kelly. So you just keep doing a good job, because I'll probably have to interview you again on that topic. One of the things that we did in the default calendar was we said, what are the real categories that you work in as the owner? Do you mind sharing your categories? I think that would be helpful for people.
Well, I'm a one-man show right now, so obviously sales, you have to put generating revenue as number one, so sales. But then once you sell something, you have to deliver the product. So we focused on that, some on marketing, and then some administrative.
Yeah.
So I've just recently hired somebody that's helping me with lead generation, which is huge for me. That takes some pressure off. And my next step is to hire somebody to help me with the administrative part, because that is not either something that I'm very strong at or anything that I enjoy very much.
There you go. When we've talked about those things, and the default calendar will help you determine what needs to be delegated to. That's the other thing about the default calendar, is it helps you delegate, determine what needs to be delegated. So, that is.
And you know what they say about delegating, right? You got to delegate to elevate.
Woo!
I like that.
I do too, and that makes a lot of sense. Good delegators are more profitable. I mean, that's a fact, and it is we know so much about our product or service that it's hard to imagine that people can do it as good as us, but oftentimes, well, they do it better. And when we let that happen, we really see success, and it can really evolve from there. Well, that's fascinating, Kelly. Thank you for sharing that. My last question for you is, what's your favorite book that you would recommend?
Okay, so there's twofold. First of all, my favorite book is the Bible, because that's just where I find my strength.
Okay.
My second book, and you probably will never find anybody that says this in an interview, my second favorite book is Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day.
Are you kidding me? I have a presentation about that book. I love that book.
It's my favorite book of all time. And part of that is just a cute book. But secondly, it just reminds me that even on our bad days, that we have to keep it in perspective, and that there's always many blessings that abound around us.
Oh, I'm so glad you said. Say the title
too.
People get the title.
Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. I'm telling you, everybody that's listening needs to read that book. It'll take you about 10 minutes, if that long. The grandkids love it.
They do. I bought it for my kids, and they'll just listen, and it's a terrible, no good, bad day. You can just hear people saying that. So awesome. Thank you.
I can't wait to get it. Thank you.
Yeah, good for you. Well, thank you for that. So we're at 11:25, which means we have about 5 minutes. Lisa, is there anything you want to add to today?
No, I want to thank our guest. I have written down some things that I know are good takeaways for me, so I really appreciate that. And I'm definitely getting that book, and I have already thought of people who I can get that book for too, as well. And if people want to find out more about Paul and I and our work, they can go to onetruenorthcoach.com. Every single Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we have a complimentary virtual meetup, and we break down best business practices and focus on a theme. The other day, there was a business owner from Glasgow, Scotland on the call, and it was so exciting. It turns out that perhaps he's a relative. We share the same last name on our mother's side, but it was a delight. And so we encourage business owners to jump on that, and it's complimentary. So more information is on our website for that too, onetruenorthcoach.com. We also have a COVID-19 resource page with a lot of great information to help business owners navigate through our COVID times.
Oh, great. Thank you. And our guest next week is, you want to say?
Dana Hersey. Dana Hersey will be our guest next week. He's been in the photography business for about 35 years, business owner, has some really interesting and cool stuff to share. And I'm excited about having him on next week.
I am too. I'm going to get my questions all lined up for that one. So thank you again, Kelly. I really appreciate the time that you took and the preparation, because I know there is that
Mm-hmm.
hopefully you didn't screw up your default calendar too much with this interview.
Oh, there was a spot in the place, or otherwise I would have just had to tell you no.
And we do know that the 80-20 rule applies to the default calendar. If you want to know more about that, give me a call. So my main takeaways were today that you want to make sure you know the long-term numbers and continue to learn from your failures and have a really clear and passionate mission about what you do. So I thank you for that. If you want to know more about what we do at Action Coach in Wichita, Kansas, you can find me at kansasbizcoach.com. And I want to say about Lisa, in in Kansas, you can join your workshop that you do at 6 o'clock. So it's outside of business hours if you want to join the workshop you have, right? It would be at 6.
Oh, absolutely.
So I would recommend people, I always recommend doing things after the work hours if you can, especially when you're staying in the default calendar and you're trying to move your business along. One of the things that we offer at Action Coach is another service that's free, and it's at 8 a.m. Central Time, and it's called, it's a mastermind called Feed Forward, and we bring business owners and influencers together, and we just ask each other advice. We had one today, and I mean to tell you, the 2 pieces of advice I got from people who don't know anything about me was amazing, and that's what we do, is we share advice. So if you want to know more about that, just reach out to me. Well, Kelly, thank you very much for joining us. Kelly Taylor, tell us how we can find you.
Absolutely. I would like to just interject one last thing. If
Sure.
you like the concept of what we're doing, check out wichitadiscountcard.com. My contact information is on that website. And if you would like to do something similar to help businesses and organizations in your local community, please reach out to me. You could be one of our 50.
Woo, that's nice. Well, thank you, Lisa Raggio, my co-host, and thank you all for joining us at Leveraging and Learning with Action Coaches Lee and Lisa, where we have authentic conversations with business owners and influencers. We'll see you in a week.
Yes, thank you. Be well.
Bye-bye.